good to see we've got DiRaimondo, by the way. Must have been a rough evening, don't you think? You know, I'm a real estate guy, and I probably out-age everyone in this room by about 20 years. And I would say the conversation yesterday, 80% of it zipped past me like rounds out of an automatic weapon. But 20% of it I understood. And you know, when we first got into sort of trying to connect, you know, the world of real estate with, you know, this digital world, you know, we were pretty naive, and you know, we thought, well, you know, we'll take a $150 million asset, put it on an exchange, we'll raise a bunch of money around it, and we're off and running. Well, we got dissuaded of that pretty quickly, and we sort of stepped back and we said, okay, we don't think you can do anything of scale until the institutions, the typical institutions who are in the real estate space, adopt this. You can't build it around a bunch of 3.0 individual private investors. And we said, okay, so what we typically do is very complicated. We do ground up life science projects of scale. We repurpose old malls into really cool mixed use stuff. And we said, if we're gonna bring a product to market, we gotta step way outside of that box. We gotta bring a product to market that is very simple and very risk off in order to get the institutions to sort of play in the space. So we stepped back and we said, look, instead of doing the complicated stuff that we typically do, why don't we just take the complication out of it and buy the stuff that we typically fabricate? So instead of building a building and signing a 10-year lease to Apple, let's just go out and buy one. Let's not go through the brain damage of actually creating this thing. And let's do it in a highly dislocated market. So we said, look, let's build a portfolio of high-yielding assets with named tenants with long-term leases in the tech industry. And we said, now at the moment, we looked at the industry and we said, tech and office, institutions can't run fast enough away from that right now. And we sort of made the decision, well, if that's the case, we should be running towards it. And we've got a dislocated market, and we said, look, let's just raise a traditional fund with traditional LP investors. But let's put a digital spin on it and give them the optionality to convert their LP interest into digital securities at a later date when and if the ecosystem has grown in girth to allow them some level of secondary liquidity. And it's really no more complicated than that. Now, you know, we can't offer that share class to investors in the US, mainly because Gary Gensler's walking around with a bag on his head. So we had to domicile this thing in Bermuda to do that. And you know, that's what we've done. You know, it's a fairly sizable fund. But it's really a traditional fund to buy current yielding assets and give the investors the option to actually play in the ecosystem when all the stuff that we've been talking about, all the regulatory issues have been dealt with, all the compliance issues have been dealt with, all the custody issues have been dealt with. Because I don't think institutional investors will touch it until all that stuff is sort of sidelined.
And the core of that at the moment is the infrastructure, as you said, the custody and the infrastructure to create that market for the digital part, the digital fund.
I don't know when that's going to happen. I mean, you guys in the room, you're much more in the middle of it than I am. But you know, our goal was let's just create a zero-cost option that these people can participate in. And today, I don't think that option's worth anything. I just don't. You know, hopefully tomorrow it's worth something. We'll see.
On the infrastructure point, Robert, like what do you see